Emotions Matter. Brought to you by emaw.com. That's EMAWW.com. Your solution for emotional intelligence. Thank you for joining me, your host, Monique, on the Emotions Matter podcast. It is an honor and genuine pleasure for me to introduce my guest, Hadeel Ayoub. Hadeel Ayoub is a PhD researcher in assistive technology at Goldsmith's Department of Computing. She is also a hardware entrepreneur and founder of Bright Sign Glove, which was a winner of an Artificial Intelligence Hackathon Award and considered to have been one of the most useful products at a recent wearable technology show. Bright Sign is an innovative smart glove that translates sign language into speech that is part of the assistive technology realm. Hadeel is currently working with Central Research Laboratory, a startup hardware accelerator program that helps creative entrepreneurs with developing their products. She hopes to raise enough funding so that she can begin offering her glove as soon as possible in order to give voice to the voiceless. And now I'd like to welcome my guest, Hadeel Ayoub.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh, yes, and thank you for joining me. Before we actually talk about your current product, Bright Sign, give us a little bit more information about your background. Like, when did you first develop this interest in technology?
Okay, I guess I can't really put my finger on it when it happened, but I've always been interested in how technology makes us do things we can't do in reality. And so even when I majored in design in my undergrad, I was more drawn towards digital design and the softwares that makes us build buildings that never exist because they're unrealistic. And I think that feeling made me move forward later on in my studies to realize technology that has never been done before, because I believe that it's there for us to realize the impossible.
So that was like a gateway for you of your imagination to just start to dream about the potential and then apply that dream to some kind of reality. That's great. Were there any earlier, products that you worked on that you felt an inspiration to move you into the Bright Sign product?
As a matter of fact, there is. Bright Sign is a technology. When I designed it, it wasn't for a sign language. It was for an airdrop program where you draw in the air and your hand movements are translated into paintings in the computer. And from there, I got the idea of, mapping it for letters, and then sign language came in a picture.
How far in that process did you make that jump from, oh, look, I can now use this as sign language? Where did that come from? Because I could see where you would, as a creative kind of tool to make pictures, for art students, children, etc. But where in the world did you get, I can use this for sign language?
As they say, is it the need is the mother of all creations? I think that's the saying. So basically, when I exhibited this airdrop program in an art installation, everybody who drew a painting wanted to print it and take it home with them. And then we were ended up with all of these printings. We didn't know whose is who. So I was like, okay, so they need to write their names on this, and I'm not bringing in the keyboard for that. The whole idea of this program is that you can do it independently from any device. So I thought, okay, let me see what will happen if I just map A to F, using sign language. And the results were accurate, amazingly so. And I thought, okay, so I can do something with this. And there was a competition for artificial intelligence for social care. And I thought this would be perfect, using technology for sign language. And I never thought I would win first place, and it was an IBM hackathon. And when it did, I realized that this is huge and that it's never been done before. And, the media picked up on it. And all of a sudden, my inbox was flooded with emails from family members and parents of deaf children or nonverbal autistic children asking, we've been looking for technology like this. When is it going to be available? And that's really, I think, the turning point in my career when I decided to switch departments from art to technology just so that I can pursue this in a structured manner.
Wow. I mean, that was just a calling right there. You talk about getting a sign, no pun intended. Yeah. You got a sign. You went from solving one problem to discovering a new problem to solving that problem. Wow, that is really very much a divine intervention. So tell me, how does the Bright Sign glove actually work?
So basically, it's a glove wired with multiple sensors, and these sensors gather information about the fingers and the hand movement in 3D space. And these are called hand gestures. So basically, all sign language vocabulary fall into the hand gesture category, and it just translates those numbers from the sensors to equations, and it matches them with equations I wrote before in the code. And see when there's a hit or there's a match, it outputs that word. This is basically in a nutshell.
Going back then to the idea of sign language, does it only create the words when you spell them, or can you actually use sign language shortcuts like the deaf community usually does? They don't always spell out the word doll, for example. They might have a different gesture that says doll. Can the glove communicate those types of phrasings?
Yeah, so the glove went through a series of prototypes, and in every prototype, I enhanced the features based on the feedback I get from the people I work with. So, first one only output letters, the second one was outputting words, and the third one output full sentences. And then I got some comments that we still need finger spelling for, roads and names and things that are not in the sign language library. So then I did modes. I started doing a finger spelling mode and a word mode. And then I did a recording mode where you can record any sign language that you created or you made up sometimes. And that's how it develops. Basically, people use it. They tell me what they think or what they need. And then I go back and put that in the design loop and the next prototype is born.
Do they just put the glove on their hand and then the glove is attached to an app, to your computer? I mean, can it only go through a computer, or is it at a point where you can just attach it to your cell phone or, iPad or something?
Oh, so it's all of the above, actually.
Oh, great.
That's the beauty about technology. It's very flexible and you can make it do whatever you want it to do. The coder is a magician. That's how I feel. So, you can, it exists independently from any device. So you can put it on, there's a computer on the glove, a screen on the glove, a speaker on the glove. So as you sign, those words appear instantly on the screen and are spoken out as a speech from the speaker. But if you want to upload or record new gestures, you have to connect to the internet. You can do that through your computer, or you can do that through an app that we have designed that allows you to do more things like training or translating to other languages. And eventually there will be a unified library between all the glove users so that they can build up together as a community a library for their region. Because sign language is just like spoken language. It has dialects, it has accents, even within the same country. So the best way for me to cater to that is to allow everybody to record their own sign language and share it.
Wow, that sounds like an incredibly time-consuming labor of love. I mean, wow. You don't even think about the fact that, I'm sitting here thinking in English, sign language, and it comes in different dialects as well. Oh my gosh. So is it a single glove that I use, or is it a double glove? Do you use the gloves on both hands?
All your questions are really spot on. It's a single glove right now. A lot of people are asking for a second glove. I'm torn in between because cost is a very big deal to me. And one of the things I focus on when I'm developing the prototypes is reducing cost. Because I want it to be accessible. I want everybody to be able to afford it. So 2 gloves means double the cost, right? So when I analyze sign language, apparently when there's two hands signing, two hands are signing the same thing, or one hand is static and the other one is moving. So I pretty much can get away with one glove, even for sign languages that use two hands.
Hmm.
However, we were discussing allowing the customer to choose one or two gloves. So it will be a choice. If you want two gloves, you want to pay that extra amount, go ahead and order two gloves. The computer will be placed on one glove, where the other glove will only have the sensors, and it will communicate to the main glove, basically. So this is an idea. I know it could work because in concept it's very simple, and it's for those people who really, really feel that they want both hands to be signing and processing at the same time. I don't think people will choose two gloves because they'd want one hand to be free. That's my opinion. I don't know. We didn't test this theory yet.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking of, again, how in American Sign Language, there's some phrasing that takes two hands,
Yeah.
to make the gesture.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess there's a shortcut way that they can go about it, or just like you said, they can ask for two gloves. It sounds like you're a one-woman show here. Are you doing all of the development yourself, or do you have a team that works with you?
I'm doing the development myself. I'm doing the coding myself. I'm doing the product design myself. And so that's why it's taking me 3 years to get to a level where I can say that it's time to launch. And recently, I formed a partnership with a businessman who will be taking care of all the business aspects of the glove to make it into a commercial product. So that just happened recently in the United States. So I actually have a company there now, and I set up one here in the UK as well. And I think this is good because it means that the glove will be out there very, very soon. And it means I can hire people to help me with production and with making this product market ready. Yeah.
Where did the name Bright Sign come from?
I was looking for a name that communicated positivity. So bright, really, I mean, this was a 1 month research thing. It was very short. I said by the end of the month, I have to have a name. So bright is positive. It's smart, it puts a smile on people's faces. And sign is my way of saying this is about signing. It's about sign language. I wanted something that would cover both, signing in a positive way. And it just had a nice, ring to it, I guess.
It's perfect. I think it captures exactly what you were wanting it to capture. Tell me, why is it important for you to pursue this product?
Again, I did this the other way around. I realized there's a need for it, and then I decided to pursue it. But before I do that, I interacted with my end users. So I went to deaf schools. I went to schools for children with disabilities and nonverbal disabilities, children on the autistic spectrum. And when I interacted with them, when I sat with them on the day-to-day communication, I realized there is a communication gap. There is a need for this, so they can integrate in a normal classroom, play in a playground with anyone, not needing a parent there to help them communicate with other children or translate for them. So it was really my observation, my emotional investment, really, that felt that if I have something that can help them improve their daily communication, it's worth it. It's worth a go. And if it goes through, great. If it doesn't, it's still research.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And since you bring up the subject of the emotional drive behind the product, when you tested this product, both on the hearing and those that were deaf or autistic, can you describe or share some specific stories that really tend to stand out in your mind where you saw something emotional going on and what that emotion was?
All right. So yeah, I've worked with a lot of children, a lot of families, but maybe the most significant to me was a boy who was 8 years old. He was refusing to have me, touch him or train him or, put the glove on him. And it took me 2 weeks, and I was insistent that I have to get through to him, right? And then I put these smiley stickers on the glove and trying to make it fun. And then eventually I was able to get through to him. But I mean, I'll never forget the minute he figured out that what he's signing is being spoken out and that the other party can understand him. It's like his eye lit up because he can't speak. And then he went running in circles because apparently his mom told me that's what he does when he's really, really excited.
Wow.
And then he just wouldn't take the glove off. He wouldn't take it off. He was eating with it, playing with it,
Oh.
drawing with it. And that actually gave me an idea that I have to make the glove waterproof and washable. I have to make the circuit removable so the glove can be changed in case children want to keep wearing it or wash their hands with it. And then after that, every time he sees me, he just runs and hugs me. And, you have to be emotionally connected to the people you work with. But it was really worth the 2 weeks I tried to get close to him. And apparently it made a big difference with him. According to his mom, he's more confident, speaking to strangers and other kids where he used to do that, but they wouldn't know what he's saying. And now they do. And that's amazing. I actually left one glove with that family, and I'm still collecting data through phone calls and meetings.
How did you get the glove away from the child? Yeah, you didn't exactly.
It's not that I didn't. I couldn't.
You couldn't.
I didn't have the heart.
No, of course
You
not.
can't give someone a solution and then take it away from them. I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Yes. So do you encounter, though, that situation quite a lot because of that strong, connection that they have with it?
Actually, I do. And now what I do is when I go to a school or for a visit, I always know that I'm coming back 2 or 3 gloves lighter. So I started thinking of these gloves as disposable.
Yeah. Well, that is, gosh, what a gift you gave that young boy. We take so much for granted, obviously. Yeah. It's easy to do that. And it's normal to do that. But when you realize that individuals who might be struggling, let me put it this way. It sounds like a strange correlation, but it's a little bit funny. There's a show called The Modern Family, and the actress on it, she's South American, and I can't think of her name right now, but she's very funny. And she was trying to learn how to improve her English. She had, sort of a broken English. English wasn't her first language. And her husband, who was American, would always say things to her in a slightly condescending way, And then she turned around and said to him, in Spanish, I'm a very bright person. and that just hit me because it's so true that when someone speaks, with a foreign accent or in another language, or in the case of somebody that is deaf and can't speak, we automatically assume, unfortunately, that is representative of their intelligence. And so you not only gave him the ability to communicate, but you also gave him this ability to show who he was. And, that he's got feelings, he's got thoughts, he's got ideas, he's got, future plans. We never think about that.
He was making jokes. It's amazing. And everybody was laughing at his jokes. And he has a nice sense of humor that nobody knew about.
Oh, my gosh. You just gave me goosebumps.
He'd be like, I want to go dancing. And I'll be, so you like dancing? He's like, no. He just made a joke just like that. So cute.
Wow. Well, now they probably want to take the glove away from him because he's probably talking too much, right? If he's 8 years
it's
old.
Making him a better signer. So apparently the glove teaches sign language too, not only for communication, which gave me another idea to design one for very small children to teach them sign language. And then it can be used for a communication tool. And, instead of text, I'm putting pictures because 2 and 4-year-olds, they can't read. Everything that everybody does gives me tons and tons of ideas.
Wow, just one door after another opens.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm being led, definitely.
Definitely being led. And with each contact is such a joy that you get to experience. I mean, you describe the little boy's reaction, but what about your reaction? Can you give us a little bit more? Oh, yeah.
I was just crying. I'm not an emotional person. I'm not. But it just put my work in context. It just validated my research. It just showed me the reality of what my work is worth, Mm-hmm. And I'm a mom myself. I think that's the bit that I couldn't hold myself back, Mm-hmm. I have a son his age. So I couldn't detach myself from the mom I couldn't take the mom out of the researcher at that moment.
Yeah, and you were just joyful for him, and not sad. Your tears
No,
aren't sadness, but
happy
just more
tears, happy,
relief. It's
happy
more
tears.
relief.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you make a glove for a child, do you make it child size?
Yeah, so up until now, because I'm not doing mass production, if I'm making it for a specific child, I'd ask for a handprint from his parents. So that's if it's for a specific child using a specific sign language library. But because now I go to school, so I just have two standard size.
Mm-hmm.
So, 5 to 6 or 7 year old, and then another one for teenagers. It doesn't always fit. So what I do is now I have a calibration mode where when they first wear it, they have to calibrate it so that their hand movements are aligned with the sign language that is programmed for, which is definitely, going to continue on in production because everybody's hands are different.
Yeah.
And there's muscle tone differences between the disabilities as well. So not
Ah.
everybody can flex their fingers fully, not everybody can bend them fully either. And I wasn't aware of that until I actually went and worked with a lot of children. So that's how the calibration mode came up.
Well, there's so many challenges that
Yeah.
that you have to meet. How does it feel, number one, when you realize, oh my gosh, this is going to happen? Does that inspire you? Do you get frustrated? And then what about when you overcome it? I mean, what's going through your creative process in your emotional juices at that time?
Oh, so wow, it's I'm an emotional roller coaster. This journey has been, any project is a learning curve, but you meet so many dead ends. So there's tons of times that I fried computer chips, tons, not once or twice. Tons of times I electrocuted myself,
Mm.
and I still have the scars, all
Oh,
over my hands.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, and then I would wire up something and fry it up, or it will work and then it will stop working. I hit so many dead ends. I can't tell you. Every prototype is a learning curve. Every time I migrate the software or the hardware, I start it all over again. But I always think that it's going to work, even if I can't find resources online, even if nobody's ever done it, I will make it work. I remember my supervisor in my PhD, he's like, this will not happen. Nobody has ever done this. This reads digital. You want it to read analog. And I'm like, I'm going to make it happen. You're going to see. And he's like, I can't help you because I don't know how to do it. And then a month later, I come back and I'm like, look, it reads analog. And he was like, you can do a PhD just on this.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give up. I don't give up. Sometimes it's bad because it wastes my time. And for me, it's not a waste of time because I proved that it can't work, so I can let it go and move on to something else instead of thinking, oh, what if? And it's a very, very new and emerging field. So there's not possibly, you can't find everything online or you can't find a resource for every single piece you're using because they're all very, very new. Most of the hardware I use is not even in the market. I'm being sent test ships.
So there's
So,
so many frustrations in this
oh,
process. A person sees your glove and they think, oh, you just did this
oh, oh,
yesterday.
oh, no, 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 no.
But they have no idea all the
Hours and
time
hours
and the
and hours
hours.
of being locked up in that lab.
Yeah, and personal sacrifice, because you said you're a mom, and so I
Yeah.
know that means time away from family too, and that could be even more stressful.
Yeah, my husband is a hero because he's really filling in when I'm away.
Well, he probably also has a lot of faith in what you're doing, and even at this stage of the game, you've already touched so
Yeah.
many lives. You've already brought so much joy to people. In fact, how many people have you had actually experience the glove that might be deaf or autistic and doesn't have difficulty communicating in a regular way?
Maybe if you asked me this question last year, I would have been able to answer it.
Yeah.
This year, I'm kind of on a road trip and I go from school to school and from association to association. So every school has like 150 students.
Wow.
Maybe I don't sit and work with all of them, but I present to all of them and I work with a good group of them. I don't keep track. Not everybody wants to share their information. Not everybody wants to take part in an active study or have their name known. So I don't have a list because
Hmm.
I respect that very much.
Mm-hmm.
And the software I use doesn't retain any data to comply with data protection laws. So I can't even keep that.
Well, that is
I rely on
interesting.
observation.
Mm-hmm. So you
Yeah.
just sort of write your kind of lab reports, your
Yeah.
studies. What kind of material do you use for the glove?
All right. So are you talking textiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for that, I had to talk to someone in Smart Textiles who educated me about material that are fireproof, material that are electricity proof, non-conductive, because that was very important. I wanted something amazing and beautiful, but I wanted it to be safe as well. So those are materials I used. So I used wool because wool is non-conductive. It's fireproof, and it gave a structure to the glove. So that's what I insulated the circuit with. Other than that, the fabric is changeable. So sometimes I use cotton jersey, sometimes I use, flexible, stretchable material, depending on what I'm testing, who I'm using it with. Overall, when you wear the glove, you don't notice the sensors at all because it's embedded in the design of the glove.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a transparent film on the top part where there's a screen. So you can see what's on the screen. And then the speaker is from the other side, directed towards the listener on the other side of the conversation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
You don't use leather? For some reason, I kept thinking that the glove was made with leather.
One of the prototypes was leather.
It
You're right.
doesn't work as well, the leather.
No, it was too bulky. It was
Mm-hmm.
too bulky. It felt like a baseball bat. I didn't like it.
Jay, you want it lightweight, right? So
Yeah,
there's a little
yeah,
bit
and
of
I wanted it to
freedom.
be, you know what I did to test how durable it is? I just put it at the bottom of my backpack and I kept it there for a week. Wherever I go, it's the bottom of that backpack and I throw it in the train, I sit on it, and I just want to see if it's going to survive. At the end of each day, I turn it on and it works, and I'm like, oh my God, it's still working. The next day I abuse it even more, and then it still works. I'm like,
Wow. The experiments you have to go through to check its durability. That's pretty funny. Tell me something. When you have witnessed people who are not hearing impaired witness this happening, either to a loved one or to a stranger, what kinds of emotional responses do you get from them?
Surprisingly, it's disbelief. So they can't believe this is happening. They can't believe this is real, that this is working and it's happening. A lot of them are like, I just can't say except wow. I don't know how this is, how is this working? Although a lot of technology now is just doing the same thing. It's doing the impossible. But I think when it's closer to home and when you've seen someone suffer for so long with something and then there's the solution, you can't believe it's real.
They're in awe.
They're in awe. I just
Hmm.
got that comment yesterday in the conference I presented. I think it was someone in a leading healthcare company. He was like, I'm in awe of your presentation. He attended it. He just stood up and he's like, I don't know what to say. Which is very good for me because, when I go to these conferences, literally, I'm the only female in
Mm.
tech. Literally, I'm not kidding. I used to
Wow.
not think anything of it, but yesterday I was the fourth speaker, and the three speakers before me were men in suits representing big companies, multi-million dollar companies. And then here I am, a little startup, and a woman getting up there in my jeans, presenting my glove. And then everybody comes after that and they're like, if there's one thing we took from this conference, it's you, it's your product. And it's good because I feel intimidated, being surrounded with these giants in tech, and it's male dominated, definitely. So stuff like this makes me feel that, I am fighting against the current, but I'm going to make this happen.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, just the side goal here is, opening up doors to encourage
Yeah.
other young ladies
Yeah.
to go into the sciences and technology. But, I would imagine they were drawn to you because of the humanitarian aspects of the product, that people can have empathy with that situation, and how that would help, someone that has been silent for so long. Do you ever encounter someone who feels negative towards towards the products? Have you ever experienced that?
Believe it or not, the only resistance I got was from a deaf person. So I attended a conference designed entirely for deaf people. So the entire conference was done in sign language. All the attendants were either, from the deaf community or members or family members. And they said, who told you we have a communication gap? We're very happy signing the way we are. And if you don't understand, my sign language, then you're the problem because you don't understand my language. You need to go. You're the one who's not inclusive. You're the one who needs to go and learn my language. It's not my problem you don't understand sign language. And in a way, that's true because, as you said, I go to America, I can't speak English. Your problem, or is it my problem? By default, it's my problem because I can't speak English. It means I'm uneducated. So a lot of them are used to lip reading and they're happy signing and using their phones to text. And, they don't want to adopt a new technology because they've been, this is their lifestyle for so many years. But interestingly enough, the adults that were from the deaf community who really wanted the glove were the professionals because they have to hire a translator everywhere they go. And this will cut costs for them because they'll buy one glove and that will be their translator. They don't need to book their appointments according to their translator's diary. They don't need to pay for travel expenses for a translator to go with them on a business trip. And so I think with children, it's by default. Every parent wants the best technology to help their children. But with adults, maybe professionals will be more adoptive of this tech, according to the feedback I'm getting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Don't come and say you have a solution for us. You don't know what it's like.
Right, exactly. Yeah. How can you speak for us?
Yeah.
when you're a hearing person. Yeah, that's a very interesting look at that because your first reaction to this product, it's, oh, you must be helping people. And it's, and I would probably say, if you would agree, probably 80% of the reaction is probably in that realm, but there's still going to be that 20% who's, like you said, either suspicious or maybe even insulted, in a way that you felt like we needed this.
Yeah. Although, I went to one of the meetings in the deaf associations here, and they're like, there's no tech for us. All of this tech is for physical rehabilitation. It's for the blind. Nobody's doing anything for the deaf. It's the completely opposite reaction I got from the other conference I attended,
Yeah.
It's just interesting for me to see these different cultures. And as you said, mindsets differ. But at the end of the day, even if I solve half the problem for half the people, that is still good enough.
Mm-hmm. You have to stay on your own mission, to see the product through. We do have a caller, by the way. Somebody has typed in a question here. So let me go turn to them and see what they have to say. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Her name is Anne, and she's from California. And she has a son who was born deaf. And guess what? He is 8 years old. and he struggles in school and tends to be withdrawn. And she wants to know if Bright Sign can help him overcome his communication fears and help him express his feelings better.
Okay, so what I really love about this scenario is that it looks like her son is in an integrated classroom, which means he's attending school with hearing children, and that's amazing. And it is the movement a lot of schools are going for. And it is one of the reasons I'm doing gloves for children specifically in schools, because that means that if her son wears this glove, he can communicate with his peers directly without having someone or a shadow teacher to translate for him. In recess, he can go in the playground and approach any other kid in any other classroom and tell him, come play with me, using the glove. And he'll be able to communicate directly. Maybe the first couple of times it will be a bit odd, and then they'll just get used to it. And, he can actually record a kid voice on a glove. So it's more personal. It's not Siri type speech or anything. And that's an amazing feature, I also focused on trying to make the glove personal. For kids, I would tell Anne to email me her son's favorite character, and maybe I can have that printed on a glove. So it will look something like something fun, something he likes. It goes with his Halloween costume maybe, and it wouldn't look odd about, wearing a glove in school. It'll be something that looks nice and something that he likes.
Oh, that is such a good point. We never think about the child's being self-conscious of the fact that they may not only feel different, but they might look different because they
Yeah.
have this glove. And so
Yeah.
you go out of the way to make sure that the glove feels more like a natural part of their apparel
Yes.
rather than a crutch of some kind.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So, how different is your glove from some other sign language type of products that are available?
Okay, so the glove as a data glove has existed for some time, but it has been used for gaming, for music, for rehabilitation, but not for sign language. And for sign language, the technology available for communication is basically apps on tablets. So there's no eye contact, there's no direct interaction, and it's really expensive. So a glove for sign language as a commercial product doesn't exist. And this will be the first time something like this goes on the market. Um, so, I'm trying to focus on making it as, user friendly as possible so that it can replace the app. I'm trying to make it device independent, so it doesn't need a device to operate for those parents who suffer from their kids staying on an iPad for too long. And I'm trying to make it cost effective because these apps and those tablets for communication are in the thousands. And
Hmm.
I'm trying to make the glove in the hundreds. And that's why I turned down a lot of investment offers. I could have been in production 2 years ago, but everybody knows there's no competition and they set up the price so high. And I always say it defeats the purpose because the whole idea is to make this available for everyone who needs it. And even though I don't have competition, I just want to make enough to keep the research going. And I definitely want to make it, in the hundreds.
So, do you have a patent already on the glove?
Yes, I do. I filed it in the States and it's going to become worldwide very soon. It's funny because that's how I was introduced to my business partner. He had the same idea. He wanted to file a patent. My name came up that I did that. So he called me and he's like, listen, instead of competing with you, I'm going to join forces and we can make this happen. We have the same vision. And I was like, okay, that's different.
Yeah, that is different. So he kind of went in together with you, but he's helping you anyway. So he is part of the business. So it's kind of like Shark Tank. I don't know if you get if you,
Yes,
do you
yes,
get
yes.
Shark Tank in
Actually,
the
he
UK?
just sent me he just sent me a video on Shark Tank this morning. Like, I want our pitch to be like that.
I, that is so funny because I've been sitting here thinking about Shark Tank and you. I was like, well, she should go on Shark Tank. I bet
Yes,
you Mark Cuban would pick that up. That is so
yes,
funny.
so
I'm
funny.
gonna look for you on Shark Tank for sure.
Oh my God.
So tell me, based on what you've done, and you said earlier that technology has kind of opened up your imagination and turned your imagination into reality. Do you believe that at some point EMA is working on wearable device that can monitor emotional states? Do you think we will be able to reach that kind of level of interaction with computers? Do you think there's a way the technology can measure emotional states?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes. It can analyze your emotions. It can actually tell you what to do about it, and it can predict your behavior. That's artificial intelligence. That's machine learning. The computer is so smart. It can tell you about humans more than humans themselves just by, being very sensitive to patterns in behavior and in your voice tone, and in your body language. There's so much we give away that we don't know. And the computer picks on that because it's programmed to.
Right. It doesn't have all of the social norms behind it. It just tells you exactly what it sees without worry or fear. It might hurt your feelings or
Yeah,
encourage you to do something. It's just giving you the facts of
yeah,
what it's
very
sensing.
objective. It
Hmm.
looks for the signs and it tells you exactly how you're feeling.
When can we anticipate this glove, Bright Sign, to be on the market?
So the timeline I'm looking at now is 6 months,
Wow.
which is amazing because I've been in the design loop for so long. I'm so happy I'm surfacing now to production. So I'm going to China next month to secure a supply chain, to see the manufacturing and production factories. And I want to do this myself until the last minute. Until I see the first glove on the shelf, I'm going to be involved. And then after that, we're going to be ready for production and taking orders.
Where will you be selling this product? Is it going to be mostly online, or are you going to retail?
Oh no, I'm not. I don't think we're going to do retail. So it's going to be institutions, so schools, hospitals, clinics, therapy centers. For individual orders, it will be online. As I said, we want each family to personalize the glove. So maybe they can choose characters, or they can choose colors, or they can have an empty canvas and paint the glove the way they want. And online is the best way for that, really.
Mm-hmm. If you do characters, would you also have to then pursue contractual agreements, for copyright issues? Like if you wanted SpongeBob, for example,
oh yeah,
you'd have
definitely.
to get that approval from.
Because I want the kids to be happy, I can always make up my own characters.
That is true.
Yeah, and they can be fun and cute and amazing. But sometimes to cross over first, you need something familiar, especially with little ones. So I'm exploring all options, really. I just found out I need a medical certificate. So every day I find out something new.
Yeah, that is
One of
true.
them, copyright issues. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that because I'm not a doctor and I'm not solving a health issue. I'm solving a communication issue, but apparently that falls under the category of medical certification. I hope that doesn't delay production, but I'm still moving forward with my timeline.
Well, that might also open the door, though, for people who might not be able to afford it if it is considered a disability aid, a medical aid.
Yes.
They might be able to use health
Issued
insurance.
to them by the government. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I want. I want the end user to get it for free. That's what I want. I want the school to buy it and the children to use it for free. I want the hospital to get it for the patients. I don't want the end user to pay for it. That is my business key.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, I wish more people were like that.
Well, someone is going to pay for it, but
Yes.
I'm not going to burden the person who needs it to buy it.
Right. I gotcha. Yeah. So how can we learn more about you and the product? How can we follow along?
So you can check my blog, brightsignglove.com. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Hadeel Ayoub. So my journey is documented in detail on both of them. More glove-related stuff is on my blog. More event stuff where I go, where I present it, who I work with is on my Twitter account. And you can always email me if you want to know more.
What are we going to do after the glove?
What am I going to do after the glove?
What are you going to do after what are you going to do once Bright Sign goes out there? Are you going to just continue finding ways to, develop it, improve it, et cetera? Or do you have some other journey you want to take?
So for sure, it'll go through so many upgrades and updates. That's definitely. But I want to make a series of, assistive technology tools to help people who are, facing communication problems with their disability. So I want to make education. Really, what I really want to make is educational tools, something they can use in the classroom to help them with their learning journey and overcome their disability. So I already sketched out a couple of ideas, but I don't have time to pursue them now. So that's my dream, really, to continue in this field, but do different things.
I would suspect once this comes out and is, in full motion, that dream will probably become a reality as more people will seek you out as someone who can help solve these kinds of problems for them. What a wonderful journey. Wonderful.
It's a learning curve for me too. I'm learning something new every single day.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you again for joining me today, and give everybody one more time your blog page and your email page or your website.
So my blog page is brightsignglove.com, and my Twitter account is Hadeel Ayoub. That's my handle. My email is included on my blog, so it's easy from there to reach me.
And they can reach you if they have direct questions, too, about Bright Sign or
And if they need something customized for a different kind of disability, that's still fine.
Oh, great. Yeah, so they could reach out to you about some other ideas. Wow,
Please
wonderful.
do. Yeah, I welcome ideas and suggestions in any way.
Well, thank you again for joining me today, Hadeel. And thank you for joining me, your host, Monique, on the Emotions Matter podcast.